Oh yeah, so you might have seen my GoPro footage from last Sunday at the Gravel World Championships in Belgium. So in this video, I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about how I got on and how the race went for me. First thing, I'll give you a little rundown of the course. So you might have seen some of the comments and um, some people have been making about the course being a bit boring and not a real gravel race. Having raced it, yeah, I'm not of that opinion at all. I think it was a really good course to race. Yeah, fast, loads of corners. It wasn't maybe what you typically see on some of the events in North America and things like that, but I think from experience, like racing and riding here in the UK, where I live, it was better than what anything we've got around here. Um, like I thought the trails were really good and it allowed for good racing. Yeah, from what they had, I think it was a really good course and it all seemed to flow together really well. And yeah, you got a real taste of like the Belgian riding as well. Yeah, so I had ridden around the course, so I knew what was coming up and things. I knew position was going to be really important coming into it. Um, so I wanted to make the most of where I was starting. So I ended up with a fairly decent grid. So I was 77th. So a little way from the front, but not too bad. So I'd actually, from a few of the mountain bike races I'd done earlier in the year, I'd managed to pick up a few UCI points. So that was why I was a little bit further up the grid. And I think that was really valuable. Even though I wasn't at the front, it was miles better than being sort of 300th spot right at the backs. So yeah, when the race got underway, it started off on coming out of Hal on the tarmac before you drop down to like a canal path. And the first real pinch point was this hairpin corner, like I don't know, a kilometre and a half out of the race. So you might have seen this on the YouTube video that we've done, but it was they decided to put in a dead turn as the first proper turn, with 300 people fighting to get into the same spot. So I knew that was coming up, so I kind of picked the left hand side of the road on the start, knowing that sort of people usually swing out wide, and hoping I could nip into the gaps really. Yeah, and it ended up working pretty well for me. I found a little gap on the inside and managed to wiggle my way through and came out probably a few places in front of where I'd come into the corner. But one of the funny things about that, they'd started the barriers like 20 meters before the corner, and by the time I come round and was coming out the corner, people were just starting to run up the grass bank before the barriers had started. So it was like people coming in from the left off their bikes. They must have made up, I don't know, a lot of like 50, 60 places, some of them, the first ones to do it. Whether it was allowed or not, I don't really know, but I saw some footage from last year as well, and it was a similar sort of thing. Once we got through the battle through the first corner, it went up a climb and it started to string out. So this is where it really first started to hurt. Did decently at sort of keeping up with the riders in front and moving up when I could. But yeah, after about 30 minutes of just absolutely maxing out of the corners, like just hanging into the wheels, it was started to get to me. So I was still in touch with the front group after about half an hour, probably along with sort of 50 other riders. But yeah, at that point, I was starting to hurt and I was starting to think, I can't do this for 4.5 hours more. And if I carry on, it's going to be bad news for my legs later in the race. So I decided to back it off a little bit. I ended up getting dropped from the group on the next climb. I pushed really hard for that first half an hour. I think I'd done like 390 normalized power for the first half an hour, and it wasn't a steady effort either. It was really surgy. So yeah, I knew that wasn't sustainable for me for another 4.5 hours. So I thought it was best to sort of cut my losses when I could, and still had a chance to recover. So I got distance from that front group, and then I ended up dropping back through. Well, there was sort of riders scattered everywhere really, and it took me about half an hour to sort of feel kind of recovered again and able to feel like holding the wheel was like a manageable thing that I could do. So yeah, it took about 30 minutes, and then I found myself in a group of sort of 8 riders going through Waterloo, which was about 40, 50k in. Yeah, we started rolling turns pretty much straight away, really. Yeah, we were working together for sort of 3-4 kilometers on a bit of a longer road section before a big group behind us caught us up. So the group then went from about 8 to like 20, 25, maybe 30 even. And when that happened, the sort of collaboration in the group sort of broke down. People started, were sitting on the back, so then no one was keen to pull through. So I thought, I'm not gonna pull everyone along here. So I dropped back to maybe, I don't know, 10th, 12th wheel, so I could sort of avoid the front, but not be too far back, so it was strung out on the corners again. We sort of stayed in the group. I think it was, say, pretty similar size, all the way to the Leuven, where we started our 2 finishing circuits. So that was about the halfway point as well. So I planned to get two new bottles at that point from my mum and dad, who were in the feed stop. So I started out with two 750 bottles. And I was planning to grab one that lap and then grab another one the next lap afterwards. So I came into the feed stop, but there was also about 300 other supporters in the box as well. So obviously you had all the elite riders supports and the age groupers as well. So there was just loads and loads of people. And it was on a flat bit of the course as well, so we were coming fast. I scrubbed my speed a little bit, but it was still hard to pick people out amongst all the others. Pretty much what happened, I missed both of them, which was pretty frustrating at the time, because I ran out of my other 2 bottles were empty. I kind of really needed that bottle, but I only saw my dad, and by the time I'd seen him, it was too late, and then I completely missed my mum as well. So I ended up coming out of the feed zone with no drinks, and the group that I was with actually dropped me in that time because I'd slowed down so much. So I was that got in my head, I can't lie. I was a little bit disappointed coming out of there. I thought I wasn't going to see that group again, and I was a bit worried about doing the next lap, which was about 48 kilometers the lap. So I was going to have at least sort of hour and 20 without a drink. But I tried. I thought, all right, I need to sort of push this to the back of my mind now and just sort of carry on best I could with the race. So next few hundred meters, the next group caught me. So because there were so many riders on the course, there was big groups sort of everywhere. I got absorbed by the next group behind. Followed the wheels for a bit, and it ended up sort of 2-3 kilometers further down. We actually caught up the group that I was with before. So that was actually a really nice sort of surprise to see. I wasn't expecting to see them ever again. That race. That was I think that lifted my spirits a bit as well, and I didn't forget, but the sort of drink issue sort of slipped away a little bit, and it wasn't bothering me so much by that point. And I was sort of thinking, I'm back in the race a little bit now. So from there, really stayed in the group. It was pretty hard on some of the climbs, but because it was such a big group, on the flatter and downhill sections, you could recover quite well. So as long as he's stuck in the wheels on a few of the corners and the climbs as well, he had a pretty not easy ride, but it was not too bad when you were sitting in the wheels. I came through the end of that first lap still in the group. yeah, it had a lot of riders in it. So I wanted to make sure I was towards the front for the feed zone this time, so I had room to sort of slide back while I was picking out my feed. Um, so yeah, I came into the feed station like, I don't know, fifth, sixth wheel in the group, and luckily my dad had moved right to the front of the feed stop, so he was easy to pick out, and I grabbed a bottle off him. And then I actually got the second bottle off my mum as well. Yeah, which I was pretty relieved about, because I don't think I could have done another lap without a drink. So yeah, once I got them, probably in hindsight, slightly silly idea, but I just down one of the bottles. I probably drank about 2/3 in the first sort of mouthful, which was really nice. But about a few minutes after that, I got a bit of a stitch. So yeah, that wasn't ideal, but I'd come out the feed zone, I had 2 bottles, and I was still in touch with the group as well, so I was in a better spot than I was last lap. I had a few difficult moments where it was hard to stay with the group, but I did remain in touch. Yeah, till about 2/3 to go, we went up. It was sort of the last decent climb. It was about three minutes long or so. We turned left off the road, and it was yeah, fairly steep little ramp through the woods, really. I tried to enter in good positions, give myself some like room to drift back through the group, but yeah, I ended up getting dropped on that climb, which was a little bit disappointing. But I mean, in the moment, I couldn't have pushed any harder. It was just, yeah, one of those things. The fatigue had got to me after sort of 4 hours of racing. So yeah, I slipped off the back, probably along with about 6, 7 other riders. So yeah, we formed a little group, working turns together fairly decently for a little bit, but then I think people were pretty tired by that point. So a few people started missing turns, and then that made everyone else less like wanting to pull through. Not far after the people had sort of stopped working, really. 2 of the other riders attacked off the front of our little group, and I missed the move. And they got, yeah, he did like a pretty explosive attack, and yeah. So I tried to sort of encourage some of the other riders to put a few turns in to help pull them back. But it was only really me and a rider from the US sort of helping to close the gap, really. So after maybe a kilometre of that, yeah, I thought I'd probably need to close this myself. So as we came out of one of the corners, I launched a bridging move across to the other 2. I managed to jump across fairly quickly without sort of dragging anyone else across as well. So yeah, I got onto the wheel of the 2 in front, and we carried on for a little bit. But then the rest of the group actually caught us back up. So there was clearly something they still had something in their legs, but yeah, they weren't willing to share it out with the rest of us. So yeah, we were all together then at that point, and I knew it was probably gonna break down again, like the working together. So coming into a hairpin that went under a bridge, I knew there was a short, like sharp climb afterwards. So I sort of positioned myself in second wheel, behind a rider from Germany, and yeah, as we came out the corner, once he'd stopped accelerating, I just continued. I put in, a decent dig and I managed to get away from the other riders. And by the top of the climb, I probably had 10 seconds or so. So I kept the pressure on, and ended up managing to hold off the rest of the group. So it was to the finish. So it ended up being like a 7-kilometer solo time trial for the last part of the race. But yeah, I just managed to hold on. they got pretty close at the end. But yeah, and then I ended up coming in 106th place. Yeah, but yeah, result I'm pretty proud of. It was an amazing experience as well. Getting to race in Belgium at like a really big race. Yeah, the crowd turns out, and yeah, they make plenty of noise, and it was just really exciting to be part of. Yeah, and yeah, it was just a really good experience in all round, really. I've got, like I said earlier, I've got some GoPro footage on the YouTube channel from the start, so you can get a little bit of a glimpse of what it was like. So it's pretty much like that GoPro footage, but for another 5 hours, really. It was that, yeah, felt that crazy for the whole race. Yeah, and then I've also got a bit of a bike and equipment check as well that I posted before the race. So yeah, go check that out if you haven't already. But yeah, thanks for watching. Leave a comment what you want to see next. I'm having a couple of weeks off now. Bit of a break after, yeah, a busy season for me. Yeah, if you're interested in any one-to-one coaching as well, check out our website below. We've got all the information about what we offer, and you can book a free consultation as well. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.